35 here on Kiwi. It's time for the Geek Show with Ms. Behaviour joining us at Mohawk Studios this morning. Good morning, Ms. B.
Good morning, Wammo.
And today we're talking about the rise, the very, very quick rise of some tools online. First up, Pinterest. And I think you've got to be hiding under a rock to not to have heard about Pinterest. You may not have seen it, but you probably heard about it.
Yeah, it's been picking up on my radar for a little while. I'm not using it myself at the moment because it's still invite only. You have to be invited by someone who's already using it or apply for an email, apply by email.
Yeah.
So haven't actually used it, but it's really quite huge. It's growing very, very fast. It's like anything that gets big quickly on the internet. It's very, very simple, but extremely viral, in that people can pin pictures or videos of things that they love and curate collections which they can then share with people. Now, people are using these Pinterest boards for all sorts of things. We're just looking at the Pinterest homepage.
Yeah.
And, there's pictures of puppies, there's holiday clips. People are using them for sharing, for organising things, on pretty much anything anyone could possibly be into. It's quite extraordinary.
When you say people, is this a man-free zone?
Well, yes and no. It depends where you're actually looking at. I mean, for example, looking in the statistics of Pinterest users, they're very different from in the UK as they are in the US. So in the US, I've got some infographics up on screen. In the US, it's very much female-based, but in the UK, if you have a look at this other infographic, the majority of users in the UK are actually male.
Interesting.
And you can also see that the interests are different. So looking on screen, the US audience interests are very much craft-based, holidays and leisure, interior design, and then there's also blogging resources. Whereas in the UK, you've got people talking about crafts and design, which, the whole maker, DIY, crafting movement's huge. But it's more about public relations and content management. So you can see in the US, people are going more for the maker culture. In the UK, it's being used more as a marketing tool.
Yeah. And
that's the other kicker about this. So the thing is that the people who are using it are that magic 24 to 35-year-old demographic, which the advertisers absolutely love. But the really exciting thing about Pinterest to advertisers, so users love it because they can share things that they're really, really interested in. Advertisers are loving it because it's driving huge amounts of traffic. For example, a statistic on Wikipedia, in December 2001, Pinterest entered the top 10 social networks according to Hitwise, with 11 million total visits a week. But the thing is, the next month, it drove more referral traffic to retailers than LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google+.
Wow.
So you can see that it is it's a success on both sides. Users really love it, but also advertisers are really taking to it. So it's the usual story with these things. These things blow up really fast. The company's got 16 people. They're not making any money at the moment, but they're valued at something like $200 million.
Crikey.
But they are starting to make some income from clipping the ticket on referrals. So if people are going to the Pinterest site and then they are clicking through to a link where they buy something, Pinterest is now starting to make a little bit of money on that. And you can see that that's the whole area of growth for them. However, there is trouble in Pinterest paradise.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the usual issue. The usual thing that always raises its head is copyright. So a lot of these pictures that people are pinning are actually under copyright. So there's various stock image libraries like Getty Images, and more famously this week, Flickr have operated a Pinterest kill switch. So any Flickr images that are under copyright that are put up on Pinterest will no longer appear there. And of course, the answer to this is as the same as everything. Use Creative Commons licensing, so you know that you're pinning things to your boards that are either copyright free or people are actively encouraging you to share them and use them.
But how different is that to, say, sharing something on your timeline on Facebook?
Well, it actually does connect through two Facebook timelines, but right now the onus that Pinterest is trying to do is they're trying to put the onus back on the user, the members who are pinning these pictures, putting the copyrights back onto them. So in their terms and conditions, they pretty much say anything you share, you must be responsible for making sure that this is not infringing copyright. However, that does not stand up legally. It's the publisher, the people who actually publish or republish, in this instance, copyrighted images, who are the ones who the copyright owners will go after. So yeah, it's interesting. Again, fantastic success, really, really high uptake, very, very popular. It'll just be interesting to see how things go with the copyright conundrum.
Yeah, indeed. All right, on to something called Trello now. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, Trello's a site, a tool that I've just started using at the beginning of this year, and a big thanks to Josh Veal at Inspiral for tipping me on to this one, because I'm always looking for useful tools to help manage all the different projects that we have going through Mohawk Media. We're doing a lot more work now with freelancers and contractors who are based in other locations, possibly even other countries. I've been looking for a tool that will help me not only keep on top of all my to-dos and assign tasks to people, because I can do that through Basecamp or Teamwork PM, which is the tool I use for all of my lists, but it doesn't really give you a sense of progression, and it's really hard still to find out who's working on what when. Now, Trello is a way of recreating the cards on the wall or post-its on the wall system that many of us have used when planning things. You just write things that need to be done on a post-it, you stick it up on the wall, you move things around as they're moving through your timeline. Stuff at the top might be high priority. I mean, this is how the old cards on corkboard technique, which works really well, because as you move cards along your line, you can see how things are progressing. You can actually get a sense of the big picture as well as the individual tasks or groups of tasks. So what Trello does, I've got a Trello board up on the screen. What it does is it allows you to create boards. You can have as many of them as you want. It's free. It's created by Joel Spolsky's company, which he writes quite a famous blog called Joel on Software. And they say you can make as many of them as you want. You can invite in as many people as you want to. And in each board, you create a list, and then in list, you can put cards in. And each of these cards can have things such as you can attach files, you can put to-do lists, you can assign cards to different people. And what I've got in some of them, so I'm using this for managing my leads, for example, whether people have made inquiries about work. I can put them into this, and I can move them along according to what action needs to happen at what time. So do I have to contact them? Do I have to do a quote? Do I have to actually book it into the production schedule? And things move along sequentially. I'm also using it for all of the live projects that we have in the Mohawk studio. Or some projects which are bigger, breaking it down. So, for example, the welcome board you can see on screen, I've got a to-do list, doing, and a done list. And what I would do is grab a card from my to-do list, stick it in the doing list, work on it, and then move it across to the done list when it's done. And you can see within the cards you can have comments on activity. People can vote on cards. So if you want to, for example, put some suggested things into a card, people can actually vote them up or down. You can add checklists, due dates, you can label them, and you can assign them to people.
Cool.
And it's great because, for example, we've got a freelancer working on a project right now. I can see exactly at what point through the production cycle they're at without bugging them, hassling them, checking to see if they need anything. They can make a to-do in the card and send it to me. And it's a real sanity saver for someone like us, a company like us, which has, lots of big projects, lots of little projects, lots of creative ideas. I've got a creative ideas board. I just chuck stuff in there. And what it lets you do is you can just focus on that one card, finish it, move it into the done list, feel good about having accomplished something, and then, pick on the next thing. So it helps you focus in instead of getting overwhelmed by everything. It lets you focus in on exactly what you need to be doing that day.
How does it stack up against, is it Basecamp or is the other sort of task management, team management software?
Well, it works slightly differently, and it's based more on. There's two very different schools of thought now, with which have come from software development. So the old-fashioned project management tool is called Waterfall, where you do something and something has to be done before something has to be done next, and there's lots of to-dos, and things get blocked because if things don't happen, then other things can't happen, and that can be really, really gnarly. What this allows you to do is be a little bit more like the agile methodology of software development, which is you break things down into small chunks, you focus on them in small cycles, and sometimes something goes back. So you might do something, put it in the done pile, but it might then get reactivated because something extra might be added. So then you can cycle things back into, the to-do pile and move them back through that timeline. Basecamp is actually releasing a new version very, very soon. Look out for that in the next couple of weeks. I've had a little look under the bonnet because they've got some video clips of what it's going to look like, but it's still working on this linear, lots and lots of to-do lists, lots and lots of tasks. So, I would say that if you were to sort of make a differentiation between the two types, one is more traditional, lots of lists. This is more, card-based system, which I've noticed creatives really take to this a lot better than massive to-do lists.
Okay, finally, just very quickly, Raportive.
Yes, no, this is just something, again, I've just started using, just added into my new build. It's an add-on for Safari, Chrome or Firefox that runs with your Gmail, and what it does is it pulls in contact information from LinkedIn, Twitter and various other places. So there's a whole load of things. They even have little things called Raplets which connect to MailChimp and just lots of really cool apps. But what it does, on screen you can see that I've got the contact details, an email up to one of our designers, Kelly Cheeseman. And on the right-hand side where the Google Ads would normally appear, what you've got is actually information about what Kelly's doing, what her Twitter streams are. There's a Twitter stream for her goalpost project, which I knew, I was aware of the project, but I didn't know what her Twitter was. Yeah. And you can also see her Tumblr, her Tungle, her Vimeo feeds, her phone number. And this to me was the missing link for Google in terms of contact management. Is I didn't think that all the other apps they have are really good, but this was missing, and I really like the fact that this is pulling in contact information from other social networks and pulling them into the space where it's useful, where it adds value, where it gives me richer information about the person. And simply, I really like the fact that when I'm sending an email to someone, I can see their LinkedIn picture or their Facebook picture. It actually has personalised the inbox a bit more for me.
That is very cool, and it is a great tool. But any concerns about incorporating a third party into your Gmail like that?
Yeah, I had a little look behind it and their privacy policies, because I always dig under the bonnet, look to see who's funding it, is it going to be around for a while. I looked at the privacy and I was happy with it. And remember that they're actually using the APIs for contact information, which is already being hosted elsewhere and is public, like your LinkedIn and your Twitter. In this instance, I haven't got Facebook connected because I don't bring my Facebook contacts into my professional inbox. But everything else on LinkedIn and Twitter, it's all freely available. So, it's not like you're giving information away to someone that you haven't already explicitly given permission to publish.
Exactly. There's some fantastic tools. I'm going to go away and check out Raportive myself. And hopefully I can get a project underway that I can start using Trello as well. Nice stuff, Ms. B. Cheers for that.
Cheers, Wammo.
And you can also find this as a video once more up at thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's.